You are Locked On Mavericks Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Dallas, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Kyrie returns, but unfortunately the Mavs could not make it back into the win column, losing to the Nuggets once again tonight for the final of 118-99. Here we go. Welcome into the Mavs Postcast, your team every day, and in our case, your team every game. My name is Jeff Biggs. Thanks for hanging with me tonight. I want to hear from you and the comment crew. Thank you for watching Locked On Sports Dallas, your destination after every single game. You can also find us on the Locked On Mavs podcast feed. And a reminder, today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And coming up on our show tonight, we're going to talk about the return of Kyrie Irving. What a nice surprise before the game started. Kyrie back after missing 5 games with the back injury. Also, we'll talk about the loss of Derek Lively. That was a bummer in what was a bad night for the Mavs. And we will also have an update on Luka Doncic that you're going to want to stick around for. But we have to start with the start of this game tonight, and what a start it was for the Denver Nuggets. What a difference compared to the first meeting on Sunday. Remember, on Sunday, the Mavs came out, had a great first quarter. The Nuggets had their worst first quarter of the season on Sunday when they only scored 17 points. Completely different game tonight. The Nuggets were ready, they were prepared, and they brought their defense right at the start as well and really set the tone early, winning the first quarter over the Mavs 36-21. And for all intents and purposes, that was pretty much the ball game. Really did not get well. I mean, you could say the Mavs got it down to 14 in the fourth quarter at one point. That was about as close as they could get. But really, again, this was about the Nuggets, and what a bummer because, man, when I got the news this afternoon that Kyrie was coming back, my first thought was, oh, cool, awesome, man. Now Kyrie's going to return. He's going to have a chance to go off and really avenge that tough loss on Sunday. They need his scoring. They need offense right now. They need some kind of a jolt, some kind of a boost, some kind of energy. And I really thought that Kyrie's return was going to make that happen. And unfortunately, that was just not the case tonight. Kyrie did return, ended up with 11 points in 30 minutes, but was 4 of 18, 0 for 3 from beyond the three-point line. He did get to the free throw line 4 times, knocked down 3, had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 steals. Did Kyrie, but we'll talk more about him in a minute. But really, the night belonged to Jamal Murray, who ended up with 45, and the great Iron Eagle made the point at the end of the broadcast tonight that for Jamal Murray, he scored 45. The next Nugget was Michael Porter, who had 13. So, I mean, what a drop that was. But it was Jamal Murray's night, 45. He had a career high 32 in the first half, right? And played really, really well. And that was a big boost for him, big boost for the Nuggets, the way that he's playing. A lot of talk about that during the broadcast, about Shaq kind of calling him out and how the Nuggets need him to kind of get back to that level if they're going to really make a run again this year, if they're going to try to get back. I mean, again, they won the title a couple of years ago, and he was playing really well, and that's a big reason why they won. So from a Nuggets perspective, they've won 8 of 11. They're rolling. They get 45 from Murray, and they're, you can't help but notice, I mean, what a difference when you look at this game. And I know, and again, I said this the other night, okay, so hear me out. I said it the other night, and I'll say it again. I preface everything that we're saying right now with the knowledge that, hey, Luka's out and Kyrie was back tonight, but is still not back all the way. No pun intended. All right. So with that said, you can't help but notice the discrepancy, the gap, if you will, in the two teams from when they met. Remember, they had the first two meetings in November, right? The Nuggets won the first meeting on November 10th, 122 to 120. And then remember, the Mavs came back and won the second game. So, again, a weird scheduling quirk. They came back 12 days later and won that big game in Denver with a great finish, 123 to 120. So, I mean, a 2-point loss and a 3-point win, right? That was in beginning to mid-November. And now here we are on January 14th. And you have a Nuggets team that comes back from 19 points down in the third on Sunday to win that one by double digits. And then they win big tonight. They were up by 31 at one point in this game, was Denver. They end up winning by 19, 118 to 99. But the point being is that since that time, and this is the time of the season now, kind of after Christmas and after the new year, this is when you see teams start to kind of step it up and take it to the next level. Not completely at playoff level yet. They're not there yet, but you see them starting to really crank it up. And again, to the Mavs defense, I mean, before the injuries, before the Luka injury and even this latest issue with Kyrie, they were getting there. I mean, they were playing really. They were one of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in the league. And so that is life in the NBA. The good news is there's going to be time. I mean, I was taking a look at the schedule, and we'll go over that as well. But there's going to be almost, if everything goes according to plan, there should be about at least 25 games or so for Luka to play with this team and regroup with this team before the playoffs. So there's going to be an opportunity for this team to crank it up. And I'll have a Luka update coming up for you in just a bit. But really, the story of this game, I mean, the first quarter, I mean, Denver was ready to play. Jamal Murray had 19 of his 45 in the first quarter. All right. The Nuggets won that first quarter 36 to 21. What about Kyrie? Ended up with 4 points in the first quarter. And then the other big issue of the first quarter was the ankle sprain for Derek Lively, who landed on Nikola Jokic's foot, tweaking his right ankle. The good news with Derek Lively, the second's injury, Derek Lively ended up playing just 4 minutes, had 4 points and 1 block. But I think the good news, at least for me anyway, from what we saw, was that Derek was able to get up and he walked off and went to the bench. And it looked like, at least initially, that he was kind of stretching a little bit, but it looked like he was planning on getting back into the game. And then he ended up going into the locker room and we never saw him again. So my hope is, and again, this is just pure speculation on my part, but my hope is that maybe they just wanted to play it safe, let him rest the remainder of this game, and then rejoin the team for the flight to New Orleans, and then maybe he'll be ready to go. Hopefully he'll be able to go tomorrow night against the Pelicans, or because of the matchup, because the Pelicans are the worst team in the West, they may let him rest and then try to get him back for the Friday night game against the showdown with the Thunder. But either way, it doesn't look like it's serious, but just serious enough for Derek Lively II not to be able to return and play in the game. So Derek sprains his foot. The Mavs bench outscored the Nuggets in that first quarter 13-8 with 6 in the first quarter for Daniel Gafford, and then Denver went on to win the second quarter again 35-24. As I mentioned, Jamal Murray had a career best at the break, 32 points, and it was a 71-45 game at the half. The Mavs starters had 23 points at halftime, and you could clearly see, at least on Sunday, the Mavs were really energetic on both ends of the floor. They were trying to run their offense, and tonight, I don't know if it was the later starting time. Obviously, Denver's defense had a big part of it, but the Mavs offense was flat, stagnant, and they just did not look good and were not able to get really anything going until they made that little run at the end of the third and into the fourth, and we'll talk more about that coming up. But right now, we're going to take our first time out. Again, we've got an update on Luka we want to talk about, and also want to hear from you and the comment crew. If you want to jump in, share your thoughts. I'm going to talk a little bit more about where the team is at and kind of what's on my mind after this loss tonight, 118-99, the final. The Nuggets win. They win the mini series. The Mavs have now dropped 2 in a row, and they will try to bounce back tomorrow night in the second game of a back-to-back when they fly to New Orleans in just a bit. They're going to leave tonight, fly to New Orleans, quick trip there to play the Pelicans, the worst team in the West, tomorrow night, and to try to bounce back and get a win on the road. That's coming up in just a bit. This is the Mavs Postcast. All right. After the holiday hustle, right? You feel me? After the holiday hustle, I'm trying to get this set up here, so hang with me. After the holiday hustle, there's nothing like giving your home a little TLC. I always find that kind of that decluttering and kind of getting everything cleaned up. I'm a big clean freak, and I think just doing that, refreshing your space, kind of helps you kind of get back into your routine, especially after the holidays when everything is so crazy. But whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or you just want to give your space a new look to start the new year, Wayfair has everything you need, all within your budget. Now, I'm right now looking for some furniture, and their huge selection makes it easy to find pieces that fit my style and budget, or I should actually say my wife's style and budget. My favorite part, the free and hassle-free delivery, even for larger items. Wayfair's site was so easy to navigate, and I found everything I needed in no time. There's something, not nothing, but something for every style and every home, no matter your space or your budget. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your New Year's home goals with endless inspiration for every space. And what is your decor style? Why did you pick the items? Why do you love them? How do you look for it in your home? What do you use it for? How does the new item make you feel? Did Wayfair help you out in a time crunch? Was the delivery free, fast, hassle-free? Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's wayfair.com, Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, welcome back to the Mavs Postcast. The Mavs fall again to the Nuggets, this time by the final of 118-99. It felt like it was going to be the Mavs' worst loss of the season. Remember last month they ended up losing the first of two with the Clippers by 23. Tonight they trailed by 31 at one point, but were able to get it down to 14 in the fourth quarter. And that was it was 91-67 after three. The largest lead was 31. The Mavs had a 16-2 run to get down to 14, with Jason Kidd going with a lineup, I should say, of Naji, Quentin Grimes, Jaden Hardy, Omax, and Dwight Powell to kind of chip down and get that lead cut down at one point to 14, but not enough. So here's the thing. You look at a loss like tonight, and it was a disappointing loss, a disappointing effort, a disappointing performance. And so the surprise of the night, and sometimes this happens, is when you get TNT or you get the national crew, they come in and they have to get the latest on what's going on. And so TNT was able to get a pretty good update on Luka Doncic. So I want to give credit to Jerry Greenberg, but in case you missed it, again, full credit to TNT, but they said during the broadcast that the Mavs expect Luka to be out several more weeks, but they do expect him to return before the All-Star break. So if you do the math, it's the 14th today. The NBA All-Star game is on the 16th, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a little over a month. So sometime within the next month, Luka Doncic will return. Now, if you look at the Mavs schedule and you kind of break it down, even if you go all the way to the All-Star break, post All-Star break, the Mavs are still going to have 26 games left in the regular season. So there is going to be time, but the other big date is the NBA trade deadline, and all eyes are on Mavs GM Nico Harrison, and he's in I think a really tough spot because, as I said a moment ago, when you look at this Mavs team, the way that they were playing before the injuries, when they had Kyrie and they had Luka, they were one of the hottest teams in the NBA. They had won I think 14 of 17 or whatever that number was, and you got the sense then that they still really weren't even close to their full potential, right? So you have that part of the season, and then you have kind of where we're at now, where all of a sudden, with Luka out and Kyrie out at different times and all the other injuries, you've had other players that have been put in the role and asked to kind of step up, and some games they have, other games they haven't. And so how much stock do you put in that? How much do you put into, well, hey, wait a minute, let's be fair that things are going to be different when Luka comes back, and he'll, the goal will be to make everybody get better. So it's a tricky spot. But again, and I said this a couple weeks ago when I found out that Nico has been making the most calls trying to make something happen. I mean, that tells me two things. That tells me that Nico still believes in this team, still believes that this team is close enough to make a move to try to make a run, and that he is willing to do that, and feels like they should try to do something if they can. So we're going to have to continue to monitor that. The great news is Nick Anstead and the crew, Isaac, slightly biased. I mean, they continue to provide the best Mavs coverage anywhere. with the Locked On Mavs podcast. So make sure you hang with them every single day. They have the very latest on all the rumors, all the injury updates, everything that's going on with the team. But I think that's a legit question and a legit concern. And I think the positive, though, is that even if Luka gets back closer to the All-Star break, he's still going to have 26 games to play with the team before they make before the postseason. But the key is like now you've got, again, we talked about this at the beginning of the month, coming into the new year, that this January schedule is not going to be easy, and we got they've got some really hard games. They got a really hard stretch here coming up to finish up the month, and so you want to try to win as many as you can. That's why I said that's why that loss on Sunday was so tough, because you're at home, you're up by 19 in the third, you have a chance to beat the team right ahead of you in the Western Conference. I mean, that was a really bad swing that could have gone one way, ended up going the other way. And so now, I mean, that really puts the onus on this Mavs team to get back on the road for this quick. Again, I don't recall ever seeing a team have so many one-game road trips. And again, I know it's a real quick flight to New Orleans, but it's just been a weird schedule this season, to say the least. They've got some more one-game trips coming up. All right, when we come back, I have some other thoughts. I want to talk some more about some of the numbers from tonight's game, and also talk a little bit more about Kyrie Irving and his return tonight. This is the Mavs Postcast. All right, I say this a lot. I love going to events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy. One of my favorite memories was attending the NBA Finals. The energy, the excitement, just unforgettable. Now, Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. All right, this filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Recently, I was looking for tickets to an upcoming concert, and I used the Game Time app, and with Game Time Picks, I found amazing deals, and I was even able to see the view from my seat before buying. The super deal was particularly impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. Plus, the app's all-in pricing shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. And when it comes to grocery shopping and meal planning, I've had this ongoing problem. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have the time. I mean, between work and life and trying to eat healthier, I was constantly feeling stressed out. And then I would go to the grocery store and buy things I didn't need, and then end up with no time to actually cook. And sticking to my health goals, that was a real struggle as well. But everything changed when I discovered Hungry Root. Honestly, it has been a game changer. It's the easiest way to eat healthy without all the stress. With Hungry Root, it's like having a personal shopper and a nutritionist all in one. They take care of my grocery shopping, recommending meals and groceries based on my tastes and health goals, from an anti-inflammatory to high protein and gluten-free options. And the best part is, every meal is ready in 15 minutes or less. I'm talking quick, healthy meals that actually taste great, all delivered straight to my door. It's been a huge time saver and has made healthy eating so much simpler. You're going to love Hungry Root as much as I do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for life. Just go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and get a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA. Don't miss out. Okay, final segment of the Mavs postcast. The Mavs lose to Denver again, this time 118-99, the final. Some of the other numbers tonight for the Mavs. PJ Washington, another kind of a quiet night. I thought he did okay kind of in the second half defensively to cool off Jamal Murray a little bit, but PJ not the PJ that we saw a couple weeks ago. 5 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists, 2 steals. He's playing hard, but has just not found his way into the mix on the offensive side. Not that he's doing anything. It's nothing really that he's doing wrong. It's just the way things have gone. Naji ended up with 11 in 22 minutes. Derek Lively, we talked about his injury, the sprained ankle in the first quarter. Kyrie with 11. Again, 4 of 18, 0 for 3 from three-point line, with 8 points for Clay, including a couple of threes. And then on the bench, very quietly, you can make the case that both Maxey and Omax had their best offensive nights of the season. Most of it was in garbage time, but they each had 10 points, 2 threes for Maxey, 1 for Omax, and Maxey also had 3 assists, and Omax had a couple of rebounds. Dwight Powell had 1 point. Daniel Gafford had 13, 8 points for Spencer Dinwiddie, with 10 for Quentin Grimes, kind of a quiet 10 for Q tonight. And then Brandon Williams had 3 with 5 for Jaden Hardy. Looking at the team numbers, just to kind of give you an idea of how this one went. Largest lead, as I said, was 31. Rebounds, 51-30. A rebounding edge for the Nuggets in this game. Also, fast break points, a little closer than I thought. The Mavs actually had 19 with 18, but then points in the paint. Also, the Mavs had 54 compared to 42 for Denver. But again, big part of that was, the game was essentially over in the first half. One thought I had about Kyrie, great to see him back. And, who knows how his back is going to hold up the rest of the way and how things are going to go. I just hope, I hope that this doesn't end up turning into a lost season for him. He was playing really, really well at the start of the season. I thought, in fact, before the back injury, remember he had the shoulder issue, right? But before that, he was really balling out, and we were all kind of waiting. At least I was kind of waiting for him to just really have a monster game or go nuts. And now he's back from the back injury. Looked a little rusty tonight. Don't know if his back is hurting. Don't know if his shoulder is hurting. But if that's the case, that would be a real bummer. If they're going to win the title, they need both not only Luka, but they're going to need Kyrie to play at a super elite level. And so I'm hoping that this back issue won't be a reoccurring issue, and that Kyrie will be able to really get back on top of his game along with Luka, hopefully by the end of this month. But in the meantime, I don't want to call it, you never like to say any game is a must win in January, but kind of feels like tomorrow night is close to a must win at New Orleans against the Pelicans, who have Zion back. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see if Derek Lively is able to go. Daniel Gafford, of course, will be there. I'll be with you after the game, so please be sure to join us. Again, we want to hear from you via the comment crew after the game. Get your thoughts and let you be a part of the show. That's what we're here for. I know Nick and the crew are going to be doing their thing, but thank you for joining us tonight. Wish it was a better night. Good news is Kyrie returned. Hopefully the Mavs will bounce back on the road tomorrow night at New Orleans against the Pelicans. I'll be with you after the game. This has been the Mavs Postcast.